All right, everybody. Today I'm going to go ahead and show you the printer-free version that I made for the game called QWIXX. It is a game for 2 to 5 people, made by QWIXX. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the regular game looks like. Usually comes in a, you use a piece of paper like this, and you're going to be rolling dice to check off different boxes. So let me go ahead and show you the version that I made, which is, like I said, printer-free. We're going to go ahead and show you how to play the game. I'm going to show you how to maneuver around the document and then the different options you have down here. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and talk about the different options that you have. So here is the printer-free version. This is just for one person to use. You can go ahead and play it with other people. When we play our game on Friday, you can go ahead and use this while we use the chat. You can do this actually automatically scores for you, so you don't have to actually calculate scoring for you as you check boxes. It's going to calculate your score for you. Alternatively, if you'd like to score it yourself, there's a manual scoring version. If you want to do multiple people on the same screen, I have that available here for, again, 2 to 5 players. I do make the recommendation that if you're going to play with multiple people to print it out and use the actual game board, which is right here. Alternatively, though, if you don't have a printer and you do want to use this, you can go ahead and kind of zoom this out to 75, and then you could alternate where different people use different ones at a time. The rules are also here, the actual game rules. You probably want to zoom in for this. And I also did a quick overview here, so kind of summarizing the rules. Let's go ahead now and talk about how you actually play the game, and I think while doing that, I'll kind of explain how it is that this sheet functions. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling dice. Okay, and I actually have a dice roller down here that I made. What happens is if you check or uncheck, all these dice roll a random number out of 6. Okay, so check and uncheck will do that. It actually works that no matter what you check on the screen, it refreshes it. So technically, if I check here, the dice are going to roll as well. Okay, so you can feel free to use this checkbox, or if you want to, you can just, as you place a check, it'll roll for you. So you use it however you'd like. So again, you're going to be rolling dice, and the way it works is this. Okay, the active player, since again this is for 2 to 5 players technically, the active player is going to go ahead and roll the dice. Okay, they're going to add together the 2 white dice, and they're going to announce that number. So in this case, it would be 5. They're allowed to, and everybody actually, not just the active player, but everyone is allowed to cross off a number 5 in one of their rows. Okay, now here's the important part about this game, the catch, is that you must place numbers in order from left to right. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's just say I were to put my 5, I could either place it here, I can place it here, I can place it here, or here. Now if I do this and I place it in, say, the red, I can no longer place a 2, a 3, or a 4. Okay, I've skipped those numbers, and now the lowest number I can place for red is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up through 12. Okay, so the idea is, again, it has to be crossed off from left to right. Now you don't have to do this. You don't have to do any of your rolls. So if I don't like this 5, I could say, I'm going to skip. I'm not going to do that. So I don't like the idea of skipping multiple, but to show the game, I'm going to go ahead and click 5. So once you go ahead and click on your dice, or the one that you're going to cross off, you'll notice that technically all these dice re-roll. Okay, in the typical game, you roll the dice once. You can choose to place down the sum of the whites, and then you have a second action. Only the active player takes this. They can add one of their white die to one of their other colored dice. Okay, typically you're not supposed to roll again in between there, those 2 actions, but because when you check off a box, it re-rolls automatically. So if you're doing a printer-free version, you're going to have to do a slight variation that technically after you roll the first one, you got to re-roll for the second action. So anyway, place that down. So now I can go ahead and add, I can get a really high number if I use this 6 and this 6, although that would be, at the far right. So instead, this is actually not a great one. So again, you can pass it. I could do a 6 on green, but that's skipping quite a few. I can do a, actually, here we go. Let's do a 10. Oh no, actually, let's do an 11 on blue. Okay, 6 plus 5. I'm going to click that, and take note once again that it did a re-roll for me already. Okay. So technically now the active player would switch. So the next person would be the active player, and they can go ahead and add together the two whites. Actually, everybody can add together these two whites, so 10, and place that wherever you'd like. So this actually turns out to be a great spot. So I'm going to go ahead and place it here. Now the active player only is doing this portion where they add together the next dice. So that would be maybe they haven't crossed off this 2 red yet. So 1 plus 1 is really good to start off on the far left. So anyway, you're going to keep on playing like that. If ever the active player chooses to skip or cannot place both of those actions, so the double white action, and then also cannot or chooses not to place, one of these where they add together the numbers because maybe they're skipping too many for doing it, they can take a misthrow. When you click a misthrow, okay, it's going to count as -5 towards your total score. So you want to try to avoid these misthrows, but if it's going to keep you from skipping too many, maybe it's worth it. So you're going to go through this back and forth, changing the active player and doing different roles. Now, if you have at least 5 checked off, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you'll notice the dashed line right here, this final number is now available for you. Okay, so if you only had like 3 of these and you rolled a 2 for green, or like a 1 and a 1, you would not be allowed to do this unless you had 5 checked off, and that rules right here. However, say now a 2 is rolled for green, you can go ahead and click this, and what that does is because you activated this final space, you lock that row. Green is now removed from the round. Okay, nobody can use a green space. So if you'd like, you can even come here and make it black. Okay, so it's removed for right now. I don't recommend deleting it because I have I have a code in there. But then when you want to bring it back, you can go ahead and just change the color back. I think it's this one right here. So that is now out of the game for every player. Okay, game is going to continue like this until one of 2 things happen. Either once 2 different colors are locked out, okay, in total, not just from your board, but 2 are locked out for different people in total, or if somebody crosses off their 4th misthrow, okay, that would trigger the end of the game. So for final scoring, okay, once that end of game has been triggered, you're going to go ahead and score up all of your pieces. So let's go ahead and put a few more on as if we were actually playing. Okay, sounds good. So this automates your scoring for you. Okay, so red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 5 crosses out, so that should get you 15 points, and it does. Yellow only have 1, only worth 1 point. Green, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take note that the lock counts as a box. Okay, so it's 7, you get 28 points. Blue, there's 4, so we get 10 points. And then we had 4 misthrows that triggered the end of the game for us. That's -20. So in total, we ended up getting 34 points. That's how it works, right? That's everything. So again, you can do manual scoring if you'd rather do the scoring yourself. 2 to 5 players, and rules, and the actual game board if you'd like to print it out. So again, there's a minor issue with this, that after you place your first die, when you add together the 2 whites, that causes the dice to re-roll when it really isn't supposed to, but it's kind of a minor issue. It's not the end of the world. So I hope you enjoyed. That is QWIXX, the printer-free version.